we've talked about the environment of care, the culture of care in residential treatment, I think it's a good time to talk about social integration, because you and I have talked about that quite a bit in general and as it pertains to Pasadena Villa Network. What is social integration and why is it so critical to what we do?
Not only is it important in the field that we work in, it's important for all of us. I think being socially integrated, being in community, that's our natural state of being. We all want to be there, whether or not we're someone with a mental illness, right? So it's essential within our residential treatment programs to create opportunities for achieving improved social integration in place at that time, really after their experience. Achieving a sense of belonging, part of that has to do with being able to go back to college for some, get a job for some, being able to deal with more independent living, like apartment living, have friends, develop relationships, their own sense of long-term community, fueled by a sense of hope and led by that sense of courage. We have to instill that, fuel it with hope, give them the skills, and no diagnosis should limit our desire to help people achieve full social reintegration.
And I think the courage helps them with skill development, helps them with mastering skills that they may need following treatment.
Right.
I think that's why it's important for us to focus on why they're in treatment. I want to talk a little bit about our model, because social integration, I think we both believe, is very important. And as you know, Pasadena Villa, our social integration model is foundational to what we do. It is based on real-time therapeutic interventions delivered in relevant situations and processed in real time by professionals. We obviously support that through evidence-based modalities in family, group, individual therapy. But really what we're focused on is, what is life after treatment? What does productivity mean for that client in life after treatment? And working back from there. Take those life and social skills and put them into action. Put them into practice over and over again. And our social integration model puts clients in real life situations that are relevant to what is going on in their particular case, that we can process in real time with professionals. There's a reason our meals in all of our treatment locations are served family style, because again, that's another opportunity to have real life situation in a social setting and process situations that arise during that setting. We have a very open clinical environment, which allows us to observe a client at 7 p.m. on a Sunday versus observing them in group at 2 p.m. on a Thursday. And it allows us to process with that client at 7 p.m. on a Sunday, which is critical, which means our therapists are out in the milieu. You talked about the importance of that earlier, but they don't have offices. They simply interact with, observe, redirect, process things with our clients that allows them to get real-time interactions. And I think that's why it's important in what we do.
I've helped to run residential treatment centers, therapeutic communities, I call them. So I've dealt with a lot of individuals, and in part because of this work that I'm doing now as a therapeutic consultant, families are turning to me saying, okay, you probably know how to deal with complex people.
I believe the social integration model allows us to treat those clinically complex clients. Talk to me a little bit about that and your observations, not only within the industry, but maybe your interactions with the Pasadena Villa Network and what you've seen.
During this last year, I've been involved with, I think, maybe about a half a dozen very complex people who have come to and through the Pasadena program. And frankly, David, I'm finding that the list is pretty short of places that are able to provide that containment and address that complexity in really productive ways. So I have a deep sense of appreciation for what you and your team are doing for these people. And I have a deep sense of appreciation for your social integration program, the common dining where staff and residents are dining together. They see one another as real people.
That's right.
That desire to really help people, aim toward that life they want to live.
What do we define as productive for that client in life after treatment? And I think that's all of our goals, and that's all what we're striving for.